The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus began to approach the towns where most of his mighty deeds had been done, since they had not repented. Woe to you, Chorazin! Woe to you, Bethsaida! For if the mighty deeds done in your midst had been done in Tyre and Sidon, they would long ago have repented in sackcloth and ashes. But I tell you, it will be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon on the day of judgment than for you. And as for you, Capernaum, will you be exalted to heaven? Will you go down to the netherworld? You will go down to the netherworld. For if the mighty deeds done in your midst had been done in Sodom, it would have remained until this day. But I tell you, it will be more tolerable for the land of Sodom on the day of judgment for you. The Gospel of the Lord. Just a couple of quick comments. First of all, as I was reflecting on the first reading this morning, I was struck by the fact that the entire course of Israel's history, the entire course of salvation history, was reliant upon one woman in the Old Testament, Pharaoh's daughter. If it had not been for her compassionate heart, Moses would not have survived to adulthood and wouldn't have been able to liberate Israelites from Egypt. One of those great examples from the Old Testament in which we see these women who play a huge and significant role in salvation history. Also, I want to talk about the gospel today. It's about this last line. Jesus says that it will be more tolerable for the land of Sodom on the day of judgment than for the people he is speaking to, Chorazin and Bethsaida. I was just struck by this line. It's one of the times in the New Testament that we see Jesus referring back to events from the Old Testament. And sometimes, like I've said before, when you read the Old Testament, we might be tempted to dismiss some of the stories, and we might think they're kind of fantastical. But one of the things we see in the New Testament is that Jesus clearly believed that those events happened. And so we should be very careful in questioning them. Jesus, in his ministry, spoke about Noah and the ark. He spoke about Jonah and the fish. And now here he speaks about Sodom and Gomorrah, that story from the Old Testament. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah is perhaps the most prominent story of the Old Testament, which seems the most fantastical. And yet, I just want to share some exciting things that have happened in the recent years. There was actually an archaeologist from New Mexico, from our very own country, and he was doing an archaeological dig in the Holy Land, and he was trying to find the city of Sodom. And so, paying attention to the different chronologies and typology of the Old Testament, they discovered what they believed to be the location of the city of Sodom, and when they dug, they found an ancient city there. And one of the interesting things that this archaeologist studied or discovered was in many of the remains, they found different forms of pottery that had a sort of molten material on the top of it. So it wasn't like molten material that came up from the ground. It was clear that it had come from above, right? And he was perplexed by this, and out of curiosity, he took some of this material back to the United States with him, and he took it back to New Mexico because there are many different labs in New Mexico, and he didn't tell them where it came from. What they told him upon examining the material was it was something called trinitite. Trinitite is formed by a sort of heat blast, and the temperature has to be thousands of degrees Fahrenheit in order to make such a material. So basically, this archaeologist in the city, which is believed to be Sodom, discovered this molten material which clearly came from above and could only be created by some sort of heat blast of thousands of degrees Fahrenheit. You think all that's a coincidence? Really cool discoveries that are being discovered in the Holy Land today. All these different archaeologists. I just want to share that this morning.